There's something fascinating about the idea that some of the world's most respected healing plants weren't discovered in modern laboratories, but were already known thousands of years ago. Long before clinical trials and pharmaceutical breakthroughs, people relied on nature, carefully observing, testing, and passing down what worked. And when you read through biblical texts with that lens, you start noticing something remarkable. These weren't just symbolic plants. Many of them were deeply practical, used for healing, preservation, and everyday health in ways that modern science is now confirming. If you enjoy uncovering hidden connections between history, nature, and real-world applications, you're in the right place. On Garden Smart, we explore not just how to grow plants, but why they've mattered across centuries. Before we dive in, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe, so you don't miss more content that bridges ancient knowledge with modern gardening and health insights. Now, let's get into it. Ancient wisdom meets modern science. One of the most powerful takeaways from studying biblical plants is how consistent their uses have remained. Take aloe, for example. Known today for soothing burns, it was once used in burial practices, not just symbolically, but because of its preservative and antibacterial qualities. What people understood through observation, science now explains through compounds that promote tissue repair and reduce inflammation. The same applies to frankincense and myrrh. These resins weren't luxury items by accident. They were prized because they worked. Frankincense, derived from Boswellia trees, is now widely studied for its anti-inflammatory properties, especially in conditions like arthritis. Myrrh, on the other hand, has strong antimicrobial effects, which explains its role in wound care and oral health in ancient times. The everyday plants that built civilizations, some of the most powerful healing plants mentioned in Scripture, are surprisingly common today. Garlic and onion, staples in kitchens worldwide, were once essential medicinal tools. Ancient Egyptians valued garlic so highly that it was given to laborers to maintain strength and prevent illness. Today, research confirms its ability to support heart health, regulate blood pressure, and fight infections. Olive oil is another standout. It wasn't just food, it was medicine, skincare, and even part of spiritual rituals. Modern studies on extra virgin olive oil show strong links to reduced cardiovascular disease, largely due to its healthy fats and antioxidant content. This makes the traditional Mediterranean diet one of the most studied and recommended eating patterns today. Healing through flavor and spice. Spices actually played a much bigger role in ancient health than most people realize. Cinnamon and cassia, for instance, were so valuable they were traded like gold. And today, they're being studied for their ability to regulate blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. That ancient warming effect people described. It actually reflects measurable metabolic benefits. Coriander and cumin also fall into this category. While they're often overlooked as just simple flavor enhancers, both have strong digestive and antimicrobial properties. People use them to ease bloating, improve gut health, and even support metabolic balance. What's really remarkable is that these uses haven't changed much over time. They've simply been rediscovered. Plants of purification and protection. Certain plants were closely tied to purification rituals, and not just for symbolic reasons. Hyssop, for example, shows up a lot in cleansing practices, and today we know it contains compounds with antibacterial and antiviral properties. Using it in rituals may have actually had real health benefits, especially for preventing the spread of disease. Cedarwood is another great example. Its natural oils resist decay and repel insects, which totally explains its use in building sacred structures and storage spaces. Even now, cedar oil is used for its antifungal and antimicrobial qualities. These examples really highlight something important. Ancient practices often combined spiritual meaning with practical health benefits. The two weren't separate, they worked together. Fruits that sustained life. Fruits like figs and pomegranates were more than just nourishment. Figs were used directly in healing, such as treating skin conditions with poultices. Pomegranates, now recognized as antioxidant powerhouses, support heart health and reduce inflammation. Their prominence in ancient culture really reflects how valuable they were for long-term wellness. And then, there's the grapevine, one of the most frequently mentioned plants in scripture. Grapes and wine were central to daily life, not just culturally, but medically. Modern research on compounds like resveratrol shows real cardiovascular benefits, especially when consumed in moderation. A balanced perspective on natural healing. While these plants offer impressive benefits, it's important to approach them with balance. Not every traditional remedy is safe in all forms or amounts. Plants like rue, for instance, can be powerful but require careful use due to potential side effects. The key takeaway isn't to replace modern medicine entirely, but to recognize that many natural remedies have stood the test of time for a reason. When used wisely, they can complement modern approaches and offer accessible ways to support health. Bringing it into your garden. What makes this topic especially exciting for garden-smart viewers is that many of these plants can be grown at home. Aloe thrives in containers, mint spreads easily in garden beds, and herbs like coriander and cumin can be cultivated with the right conditions. Even small steps toward growing these plants reconnect you with a tradition that spans thousands of years. There's something deeply satisfying about stepping outside, harvesting a plant, and knowing it has been valued for generations before you. It turns gardening into more than a hobby. It becomes a living link to history. Final thoughts. These biblical plants remind us that knowledge doesn't always move forward in a straight line. Sometimes it circles back. What ancient cultures discovered through experience, modern science is now validating with data. And for those willing to learn from both, there's a wealth of insight waiting to be explored. If this opened your eyes to the hidden depth behind everyday plants, don't keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who loves history, gardening, or natural health. Drop a comment with the plant that surprised you most, and subscribe to Garden Smart for more content that connects the past with practical knowledge you can use today.